I will go through the way in which we do a career plan. In other words, how do we put the career plan together? We'll say this again, and it'll come out again if we are there in the discussion. But a career plan must be maximum 5 years, and the reason for this is that the world is not as stable as it was 30 and 40 years ago. 30 years ago, you could start at a place and be sure that you will retire there, and you will work there up to the age of 60 or 65 or whatever. Retire, and then you get a nice watch, and you wait for a transfer to head office, or alternatively said, death. So this is not the case anymore. We can't do that because big companies just disappear, and the viruses come and change the world, and the dynamic and the volatility of the world has actually forced us to think in frames of maximum 5 years. In fact, 5 years is already a long time frame to plan your career path. But for some careers, you can't do less, and I'll show you what I mean. So what we've done is we have, on the first evening, we've gone through our career report, make sure that we understand how to maximize the value of it. On Tuesday evening, we did a summary of the career report. This is very important. We must have a single picture of what the summary information is of our career. I did mine. I will play the game of an 18-year-old final year high school student tonight, and put my career plan just quickly together, and then I will go into a case study, a real case study where we have compiled a career plan for a professional individual who couldn't progress with his career the normal way any longer. On Wednesday evening last night, we tested some careers. I found out that being a farmer won't work for me. Being a minister of religion hasn't worked for me, and you saw the results. I have tested it in a previous session. It came out, I think, as 24% match. And I have tested the work of a research psychologist going to register as a professional research psychology, playing the game that I'm 18 years old school leaver. So that's the easy one. I'm going to share my screen and show you how I've done it. I'm going to do the first one, my own, very short because we've spent a lot of time on it. And then I'm going to go into the case study of compiling a career report for a professional individual who had a serious disaster in his life, and he had to replan his career, and how we went through the process of replanning the career with this individual. Early days of the research into the career planning and the career report. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. And this is where we start, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We have compiled this plan for myself. On a close look, you will see these are the things that I must keep in focus. I must simplify, work with problems, take control. I must be in a quick, responsive environment, and I must be in a situation where a level of bold steps are necessary so that I can stand up to challenges. I must avoid these things in my summary. People in a difficult situation that are in need of help and support. And then on this level where I have tried to draw a picture of conflict that I must avoid. My goal there is to work with ideas in a dynamic environment, more theoretical than practical, very complex as a functional enabler. Now, we've gone through this, and you know exactly what it means. So what I've decided as a result of my career test your career functionality, I've decided to then go and become a research psychologist. Well, it ticks about all the boxes. These are the things that I must keep in mind. I must simplify, work with problems, take control, be in a quick, responsive environment, and it must demand quite a bold stance from myself. I must avoid people in need, helping people in need. I must avoid people in general with my career, and I must avoid conflict. So when I leave school, this is my plan to go to there and it's a 5-year plan, 7-year plan. And if we look at some of the detail in this, that's the detail. So in 2021, I must complete my first year at university. 2022, I must complete my second year. 2023, I must complete my third year and get my degree if I do the 3-year degree path. Some of the degrees could be 4 years, but then you don't need an honors degree. So in year 2024, I'll do my honors, and then I will start working. I will start working where I can do my internship, do my master's degree, and then register as a research psychologist during 2028. Sounds like a very long road, but that's how it works. If you want a professional to become some professional person, that is the road. And obviously, it's not the only way. We will hear later that this is just a way. It's by far not the only way. You can just get off school and start with a career as well. So these are the phases. I'm just going to click through them and to show the detail. And there I am as a professional research psychologist. Now, guys and girls, we will now start with compiling a career plan for an individual. I have called the individual change of name, change of dates, change of detail, just for the purpose of confidentiality. I will call this person Christo. Christo is a veterinarian. We call them in South Africa a vet. So from here on, a veterinarian is short circuit. We call Christo a vet. That's somebody who's qualified to deal with animal diseases, injuries, and animal well-being. During a shooting incident on a conservation farm or a conservation area, there was a shooting incident between the conservation people and people that was infiltrating people that tried to kill rhinos for their horns. And Christo lost his one leg. The other one got very badly injured. He actually can't use it, but he must work. He doesn't have an alternative. Christo must work. He's 37 years old then. He cannot carry on with the work that he has been doing up till now. So he had his plans for his career set up. Now it must change. Now we have to sit down with Christo, and we started with his career report and we came up with this plan. We said Christo must work in a functional enabler space. You know what that is? He must work with tasks. I have to work with ideas, remember that. But Christo must work with tasks and objects. He must work in a dynamic environment. It must be practical. Mine must be theoretical. Christo must be practical. And his career must be very complex. But there are 3 warning signs. There are 3 warnings in Christo's career report. Christo struggles to work as an individual. He prefers working with a team and in collaboration with a team. Christo struggles to work in a highly routine environment, so things should not be similar every day. He struggles with the activity of handoff. He cannot hand tasks off to other people, or he struggles with that. It's very difficult for him. So he holds on to tasks. So his career must steer away from these. He mustn't be forced to hand off. You must now make a few mental notes. He mustn't be in a routine environment, and he mustn't work individual and isolated. What he must focus on innovation. He likes change. He likes working with problems. And he got a very unique recommendation. I saw on Corbett, who's our guest tonight, he also got this recommendation in his career report when I just browsed through his career report. And that is, Christo has a strong inclination to use communication as a tool to get things done. And then Christo got another unique recommendation. He prefers working in the outdoors. So this is on the meta level of the career report. It's a very rare recommendation because Christo had specific answers to get to this point. So these are the things that Christo must focus on. He must focus on innovation. He likes change. He likes working with problems. He's got a strong inclination of using communication as a tool. Work outdoors, he must prevent those. So now we have to work out something for Christo, and he can't, remember, he cannot carry on with his normal work. His body, his physical body just doesn't allow him. But he's a professional person, so we can't throw this away. Now we must take a few things into consideration. Christo is well trained, he's highly skilled. We cannot throw it away. He's a highly skilled individual. He's very knowledgeable, understands wildlife especially, and big animals. And then we must use what we have. This is very important. We must use what we have in terms of the assets of skills and knowledge and experience of the individual. At the end of high school, we can actually have a much more of an open agenda to decide on our career, as long as we keep it in line with our habits and our behavioral directives. So now we sat down and a long sessions of planning, and Christo came up with an idea. He said, I have an idea. I want to set up my goal as the first counseling vet in South Africa. What does that mean? He said, I'm going to get farmers and people working with big animals, because he specialized in big animals, to when they have a problem with one of their cattle or other wildlife animals, they must phone me. I won't be able to go out to them. The farmer must phone me, and I will then take him through a process to determine what is wrong, what can be done, and what is the optimal immediate treatment. And I said, Christo, okay, where do we start? He said, well, I don't know. We have to make a plan. And we decided on a roadmap. Now, this is the rough work. This is just the rough work. He decided that he wants to move to a town in a farming community where he's physically closer to the community. The second thing that he would do the first year, let's take it as 2021, just to keep it very fresh, he must get a website with payment capabilities up and running. So for the first year, Christo decided, I must move close to my community, and I must get a website up and running where I can get payments for my services. But there are three problems. Christo battled to work with as an individual. He battles with routine, and he struggles to hand off. And this will block him. This will be, without doubt, it will block him, because the report says, Christo, be careful, you will struggle if your work isolates you, if it's routine, and if you have to hand it off. So now, what did Christo decide? He said, I'm going to do 3 personal development programs, 3 shadow match personal development programs during the first year. Individual inclination, routine, and propensity to hand off, so that I can make these habits stronger. So year number 1 is planned. During year number 2, his aim is to get 1 client per day and to train himself in social media marketing, and to build a video library of how to do certain things with a broken leg on a horse, or whatever it might be necessary. So he wants to build a video library to help the farmers and people working with big animals when they phone him. During year 3, he said, I want to work through my social media campaigns to help 4 clients per day. Now we are in a business profile. And then during the next year, I want to be an online vet with a global service in the timeline where I am. Okay, so my aim is, I want to build a website, Your Virtual Vet. I want to provide counseling because I'm already a specialist in the field that I am. I cannot go to the clients. I cannot go out to the field. I want to provide telephonic counseling to my farming community. This is the next 5-year career plan for Christo. So now what we need to do, guys and girls, is if we have all our notes and we have all our notes down, now we must put this into a project plan. Let me explain. We must now design a career project plan for Christo. Never more than 5 years. Any career, guys and girls, and adults, is a project. If you buy into this idea, a career is a project. And I'm the project manager of my project, which is my career. So I'm the project manager of my career project or my career plan project, whatever you want to call it. So we must now design a career project plan for Christo. We've got the rough sort of framework now in place. We've done the report, we've worked through the habits, we had a look at the full report, and now we need to take action and put a 5-year plan together. Let's start. This rough work, this pen work must now go into my career report plan, and we've emailed it to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now we are at a critical point because on page 1, we have a summary. What is my 5-year career goal? I want to be your virtual vet. That's what Christo wants to be. Christo wants to be, in 5 years' time, he wants to settle himself as the community's virtual veterinarian. What must happen on his way to that goal? He must get himself skilled in social media, video editing, and video publishing. I want to tell you the story. This entire plan has already materialized because I'm working now as, this is a case study. What he eventually did is he gave farmers a camera that they plug into their phone, and when they are with an animal, Christo can see on his screen what the farmer sees. And then Christo would real time talk to the farmer and say, no, not there, not there, not there, a bit down, okay, feel there. What do you feel? So Christo guided the farmer with a video interface, and with that he started to build videos. So if farmers would phone him, they could either watch a video on how to treat a horse with a broken leg or with a serious injury or whatever it is, or if they can live engage Christo and then he watches the video what they see. It's a fabulous plan. Now, what happened now is Christo realized that there are 3 habits that could cost him dearly on this career path. Individual inclination, routine, and propensity to handoff. And he decided, I will do all 3 of these in 1 year. So in year 1, where are we? Now we go, career plan for Christo, 2021, year 1. He's not going to be employed, he's going to go into a learning phase. And this is actually what he did. He said, I must habits that I must make stronger. I'll go on a Shadow Match personal development program for routine. Where do I get it? From Shadow Match. How long will it take me? 4 months. Then I will do propensity to handoff. Where do I get it? From Shadow Match. 4 months. Then I will do individual inclination. Where do I get it? From Shadow Match. 4 months. And I will, during this year, I will make sure that my website is built and up and running. Good. Now we've got here the plans for year 1. If possible, move to a farming community town. So he wants to move to a town where there are big animals in the farming community around the town. He wants to be closer to his environment. Now we have project plan year 1. We've got it. Christo must do these things. Get the website up, do the 3 personal development programs to get his habits up. And then we go into the next year, 2023. This will be 2022. Let me just see if I didn't mix it up. 2023, 24. No, we don't. Well, Good. Okay, let's go. 21, 23. 22 is similar to 21. He must extend his learning. So what he did during 2022 is he did the social media course, he did the video editing courses, and then he extended the social media training into 2023. He said that I will do more training on social media marketing. I will do a Udemy course. It'll take me 6 months. And then during this year, I must sign up 4 clients per day. I want to tell you something. He actually signed up for some days 9 clients. During his 3rd year, he started to sign up to 9 clients a day because some of the sessions were very short. And then work on the videos for online vet services. And then in 2024, what Christo's goal would be is to go global with his services and to provide the services up into Africa. Now, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what happened with this case study is they are now about 7 veterinarians providing this service all over Africa via phone. It's a big business. It's a big successful business. And it started with a person who was trapped in a shooting incident. But he had a plan. We compiled a solid plan for Christo. Now, this is what we must do, guys and girls. Now, I know what the first question will be. Must it be a 5-year plan? Maximum 5 years. Some people could say, but Peter, I don't have 5 years. Cool. Then we've got to get a plan for 1 year. Then we've got to get you going in 1 year or in 3 months or in 6 months, whatever it is. But let's say you take a 6-month scope. Then we must break it down into 6 one-month targets and stages so that we have a progressive flow of moving. Because what we do, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, is if we don't have a plan, we have nothing to execute. We go nowhere. And I find this, and I'm going to give you 3 categories of discussion. I experienced this with students. They say, I don't know what to study. Maybe I should do BCom, or maybe I should do B administration, or maybe I should do psychology, maybe. And then what then? No, I'll see when I'm done with a degree. We can't, that's not a career plan. That's, I'm going to study because I really don't know where I'm going. I'll find out as I go along. It doesn't work that way with a career plan. Successful people, guys and girls, have a plan. Imagine you start building a house with no plan and say, no, I'll decide where the bathroom will be when I get there. Or imagine you are on any important project and you say, no, I don't really know where we're going and I don't have a final outcome. We will progress as things unfold. It doesn't work that way. So what we must do, guys and girls, is we must go through our plan and say, what are the things? First thing, what is the big picture? And then break it down. If it's a 2-year big picture, it's fine. If it's a 6-month big picture, it's fine. If I have my goal set for within 3 months, it's fine. But break it down and say, in 3 months' time, I must be somewhere. So where do I need to be in month 1? Where do I need to be in month 2? Where do I need to be in month 3? So that we have a progressive plan of moving forward with our careers or with a business. Now, I just want to talk about a business, ladies and gentlemen. A business is a career. That's it. We can call it, I'm an entrepreneur. That's fine. It's a fancy word. It's a career. The career is you are building a business. And it's the same thing if you are a career in any other big organization. So this is important information, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, to get to this through this. A career is a progressive and productive journey. Let's have a look at the 3 key words in this. It's a progressive. There must be progress. If I don't have progress in my career, then I'm in a job. I'm in a stagnation. I've got a job. I go to work and I go home. Well, currently we don't go to work. We stay at home and we work. But what I want to, the point that I want to make is a career is a progressive thing. It's always moving forward, further, more, growing and up. The moment it stops, it's no longer a career, it's a job. And many people, millions of people are in jobs. It's fine, but it's not a career. So a career is always moving, it's progressive. The second catchword in the sentence is it's productive. Guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, careers are for people who want to produce. They want to deliver. They want to deliver a service. The service must increasingly be more professional, more productive, higher income, higher turnover, higher position in the company, more seniority, progress in my work. So my productive side, I must have an urge to produce, to provide a critical service, and this service must continuously improve and grow or redirect itself so that I can have the growth. The third word in this sentence is a career is a journey. A career is not a place, it's a journey. We must always move forward, and we must always be aware of the fact that I must keep myself moving on. The best way to do it is to see it as a project. A project has an outcome, a deliverable, it's got specific stages in it, and as I progress, I get to the outcome. A career coach, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the best investments that you can make. Now, I want to call on you. The last sentence is the future world of work will be a complex and challenging reality. Now, with that, back to face. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a coach and you can at all afford one, sign up or see the coach at least once. If you go to careermatchforme.com, there's a list of coaches that are accredited Shadow Match coaches if you don't know who the coach should be. If you have been invited to this session by a coach, and there are a lot of them around the table tonight, have one discussion with your coach to get your career plan clean, crisp, possible, and makeable. If you have the career plan clean, then you have something to execute. If you don't have a career plan, you don't have something to execute. So number one is a career coach is a valuable friend on this career journey. If you can at all afford it, sign up with your coach who invited you to this session and get your plan clean. Then the second thing that is important, ladies and gentlemen, it's always good to have somebody to check in with. Am I still on track? It's not necessarily every month, it's not necessarily every 6 months, but from time to time, I must check in with somebody. Previously in the past, parents played that role with children and sometimes not to the good outcome. It was sometimes towards a bad outcome because parents are not good coaches for their children. They shouldn't be coaches for their children. They must just a bit stand back. And I'm a parent, I know this. We want to be on the backs of our children and nag them, and don't. If you're a parent, don't do it. So, but to check in with somebody. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, coaches are professional people and there's a cost to it, but it's worth the cost. Check in with somebody who is a professional who can just say, let's get these lines straight and level again. Now, the reason for the emphasis on this, ladies and gentlemen, is the world is a very complicated, a very complex, and a very challenging. The future world of work is a very challenging world. It's not a straightforward one. And it's not, many years ago, up till quite recently, it was quite an easy ride. We could sign up for a big company and work there for 40 years, as I said, and retire. It's not that, it doesn't work that way anymore. It doesn't work that way anymore. In fact, it seems like the bigger the company, the higher the risk of being retrenched. It seems like one of the problems that the bigger the company, the higher the risk of losing your job. And with that in mind, your career plan must be such that there's a high level of agility in it, so that if things go into a wrong direction, I have my plans in place. I'm in a position where I can refoot myself, rebalance myself, and say, okay, this is plan B. I'm moving into this direction, because the world is not a reliable place for the future of work anymore. Just look at what happened with this virus. Suddenly, out of thin air, it just killed jobs and companies. It could happen again. It could happen again and again and again. We are in a very volatile world. With this in mind, it's always that you must have a plan. Your plan must be clean and crisp. You must execute the plan and stay on track with it. And if you check in from time to time with a coach, just to soundboard and to say, this is where I am, this is what my next move will be, this is where I'm heading, this is where I struggle with things, these are the things working against me, please help me think to reposition myself within this framework of progress. So what do we need? We need to make up our minds, where do I want to be in a certain time space? 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 12 months, 14 months, 18 months, 5 years. In a specific time frame, where do I want to be? What is the content of that where I want to be? Compile a plan with checkpoints on your way to that, to fulfillment of that plan. Make sure that those checkpoints are makeable and possible. And if it is at all possible, check in with a coach from time to time to see if your plans are still on track with your goal. We have people around the table that need to replan their careers because post-retirement, we call this post-retirement careers. This is quite important. It's a shorter plan, ladies and gentlemen. Your plan must be short. Don't throw your skills and your history away. Your skills, your knowledge, and your history is important to plan the next phase. There's a saying, I don't know who thought about this saying, but it comes from the carpenters in the world. They said, learn to make the furniture from the wood that you have available, because there's no better wood. It's a very wise sentence. Learn to make the furniture with the wood that is available. There is no other wood. So the wood is my skills, my experience, my knowledge, and. We must build on that and not throw it away. Unless, ladies and gentlemen, you are at a point where you say, I don't want to see an engineering drawing in my life again, never again. I will jump off a cliff if I see an engineering drawing ever again. I don't want to do it. I'd rather go and teach English in Japan or in China. If you are at that stage, then we need to drop it, start all over and say, okay, let me have a look at my career report and plan according to my habits, and then start from a baseline that I'm quite mature and I'm knowledgeable, and I can work from there into the future without a repeat of what I have done. That is also a possibility. The point is, we must have a plan. Now with that, ladies and gentlemen, just a few words of thank you. Thank you to the Shadowmatch team who made these 4 sessions possible. Thanks for joining, but it's not the end. We have Corbert. Corbert is a young man. If he wants to tell you what his age is, he can do it himself. And then you can ask him questions when he's done. Corbert left school, and I invited Corbert with a specific reason, and that is that He didn't go to university to qualify himself as a professional individual. And it's quite a big issue, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a society where people see a university degree sort of as the ticket to the match of success. It's rubbish. I've seen many people with fancy degrees being complete failures. And I've seen many people without any qualifications being complete successful people. So the success sits in the drive of the individual and not in the additional stuff that we gather. So Corbett has got a wonderful business. He's got a wonderful business. And I want him to share with you what happened in his life to bring him to a point where he has built a wonderful, wonderful business and how his career evolved up to this point. Corbett is more than a friend. I'm also a client of Corbett. So he's one of my service providers. But we get along very well. And with that, first back to you, Lizette, and then you can handle the meeting from here onwards.
Great, thank you very much, Peter. I have made Corbett co-host. Corbett, so you can just unmute yourself and then you are welcome to present. Peter, there are quite a lot of comments and questions. So as soon as Corbett has shared his story, then I will then present some of the questions and then we can handle the questions. Thanks, Corbett. Over to you.
Thanks, Lizette. Peter, thank you for that introduction. Much appreciated. You'll soon realize that I am not a one for public speaking all too much, but I'll try my best. So Peter asked me to just share with everyone at the table my journey. That's what I'd like to call it, my journey to date. So Peter, thanks for not sharing my age, but I'm the month of May. And yeah, I'll soon share my little slideshow that my wife put together, just some images of the business and everything that we've achieved thus far. So a long time ago, many moons ago, when I was at school still, I realized that I do like cars for some reason, classic vintage vehicles, anything that's a little bit different. So just to take you back, I was born in Bloemfontein in the Free State. My dad was a teacher. My mom was a seamstress. I think that's the word almost, made wedding dresses and things like that. My father was a teacher, first in Bloem and then in Pretoria. And he didn't do that for a very long time. So he realized that I think he wanted to build himself something bigger than that. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years back, bless his soul, but still with us and building this journey. So we moved from Bloemfontein to Pretoria when I was 3 years old, and my dad was still a teacher by then, but a couple of years in, his father was working at the Spoorweg, Transnet, and decided to the shop and the restaurant and everything at the Pretoria station went up on tender. And my dad, having no experience at all, was offered the opportunity by his father back in the day. I guess it worked a bit different. Was offered the opportunity to get into this business. So it was a difficult decision for him after having studied, obviously, to become a teacher. He decided to leave that 8 years into his journey, and he went into a complete different industry, running and operating a restaurant and a pub and a coffee shop and a retail store, if you want to call it like that. And I think me growing up, my parents always obviously wanted the best for me, as any parent does. But my mom had certain set out ways which she thought I would want to be. She always wanted a son. I guess everybody wants your children to be professional at what they do and obviously achieve the best they could. But parents always also has a bit of predetermined ideas for children. Children are obviously, all of us are human beings on our own, and we have our own things in life. We're born different. All of us are different, and I think that needs to be exploited, if you can use that word, exploited a bit, to obviously achieve your maximum. If you're put into a role where you're doing something for someone else, obviously someone that wants the best for you, as I said, but not something that you necessarily want to do, you're never going to reach your maximum potential. So my mom always wanted a kid who's a pilot, and that was a goal for me. Even when in standard 5, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, they should have realized that I have a passion for vintage and classic vehicles and working on them, buying them, whatever it might be. My father, on the other hand, I think having come out of a profession that he studied for and realizing that that's not necessarily something that he he'd want to do the rest of his life. And he made that decision to change that, luckily for him, quite early into his career. So he had the time to still build something bigger for himself. And that, I think, influenced me as well. I realized then through that you can do something different. The world has set out for us. As Peter also said, it's I don't want to use the word easier, but it's the decision making should be a bit different these days. Deciding to do your own thing, building your own business, and as Peter also said, that is definitely a career in building your business. But nonetheless, I got my first vehicle, obviously with my dad's assistance, financial assistance. Bought me a Beetle and then a Mini. And in my personal time, I worked on it, never really knowing that this was going to be something that I would want to do for the rest of my life. Obviously, just a kid fiddling around. And it continued like that. So straight out of school, matric, I was very fortunate with my parents. So school was something that I sort of slided through. I didn't put in all the effort that I should have put in. I was fortunate to pass with a distinction or two. But I never saw myself going studying. I've always known that I was going to do something different and build something for myself, not for someone else. I think that's something my dad also forced into me. Even though my mom didn't agree with him at the time, she still wanted me to do whatever she wanted, to be a pilot. And I did that. I went flying after school. I did the training, did the courses, got the license. And she then thought that was going to be the career. But what she didn't know was that I had bigger plans for myself. So I got the license, gave her the pilot's license, and told her that I would now be going back to the classic vehicles. What you guys don't know is when I was in matric, my parents, the driveway was full of classic cars, filled with vehicles that was not theirs. And obviously that was a problem for mom. So I went flying, sold all the vehicles before I went to the courses, sold all the vehicles. I'm going to become a pilot and be the professional in the family. I'm the eldest son. And I did it, and soon realized that this was not something for me. It's routine. It's the same thing after another, and that was not something that I was going to be able to live with. I would not grow. As Peter also said, so my version of what Peter said earlier is, if you're not growing, you're dying. That's a fact in my opinion. And so then I went back. Not easy, obviously, as a 18, 19-year-old boy wanting to build a legacy and take over the world one car at a time. But we did manage to put the ball in rolling. I was by myself at the time. My dad obviously supported me as far as he could. Obviously, also he didn't want me to go blind into something that could, at the end of the day, cost me my career future, as parents would think. But I made a decision when I decided to give my mom the pilot's license and pursue my actual career, what I wanted to do. And by doing that, I think that was also for her realization that, all right, I did what you wanted me to do, but going forward, it's going to change. So I'm just going to play you a little slideshow while I continue. I'll try and share the screen here. I think, there we go. There we are. So we sat one evening. You'll see it'll play along. So the business name should indicate one thing from the start. When I started this business, still thinking that it was something that I'll do for the rest of my life, never thought it would explode into something that it is today. So the company is called Vatswaye. In English, it translates to flog it. So it's more or less flog it if you have to translate to English. We built this business, obviously not easy. As I said, it's still hard work and a lot of decisions and sacrifices that one has to make to especially pursue your own career, your own dream job. And it could have been easier staying a pilot, just being a pilot, continuing with that. Would have probably done well and supported the family and all that, but I would have personally not been fulfilled. And that's the reason why we went with this business. In the beginning of it, the business is about 10 years old now. At the beginning, obviously didn't have the showroom, didn't have the space, didn't have all the everything that you see there, but we still had the dream. We had the idea, we had the goal to work towards, to build something like this. And I was a manager at another, while obviously doing my own thing, I was a manager at another classic car dealership where I sort of learned the ropes of the business side of it. I knew the vehicles, but the business side of it, just enriching myself that way. On that picture, that's our current staff working at the shop. After being the manager at a specific shop, I realized that my boss's idea for the company and my idea for his company was different. And obviously, I wasn't going to change his mind to get his business to work the way that I wanted his business to work for me. So what we did is we continued working there. I also believe in a thing that you not having a safety net, but having a plan B in place. So I continued working there, and I've been a financial planner for the past 9 years as well. I did that just to get bread on the table, to keep the stuff going while we're building our dream. And I decided to resign at a minute's notice. Decided to resign from the previous classic car dealership I had, just because of the ideas being different. And for a couple of months, it was obviously very, very stressful, having to get stuff going yourself. You can't just you're not an 8 to 5 job anymore. It's 24 hours a day, and whatever you're building for yourself. But yeah, to this day still, it's absolutely worth it. As I said, it would have been easier probably just going with the motions and doing what you wanted to do, doing what's expected, what the world expects. But that was never the plan for me. I still believe. So yeah, I don't know. Never really like talking about myself all too much, but this has become our livelihood. It's my passion. I'm very fortunate to have my lovely wife. I'm gonna just stop the screen sharing there. So I'm very, very, very fortunate to have my lovely wife. About 2 years back, she joined the business. She was also set in her ways, and she had a commercial or corporate job which was expected of her, and that's the way that she thought her career would pan out. We met a long time ago. We've been together, married for 6 years, and together for 13 years, 12 years now. And she decided to join us. Luckily, having building this thing to what it is today, you obviously realize that you don't do everything yourself. If you sometimes feel you have to, you want to, because that's the only way stuff's going to get done the way you need them to be done. But you need help. You need to hand off as Christo, as you said there, Peter. But getting back to everything, the short and long from my side is, I think it's quite important to have a passion. Number one. Number two, it's very, very important, as you said as well, to have goals. I did it sort of the wrong way around. I knew where I wanted to be at the end of it, and we work towards it. And as you get closer, your goal just keeps on moving away, because you didn't punch that goal into something that you achieve, and you can break it up into different stages of what you need to achieve. Obviously, my wife, having joined our team, she's assisting us with that, setting our targets and all kinds of stuff like that. Thirdly, passion. You got number one, passion, the goals you got to have. Number three, you have to absolutely be dedicated. I'll say it again. It's easier, and it would probably be easier to follow the motions, but for personal happiness and building your passion and building a legacy, you're probably not going to achieve that in a regular job. I can guarantee you're not going to achieve it. You're going to do it for a couple of years, and you're going to realize it's not for you, and it will be either too late, never too late, but maybe you lost a couple of years going into building your own thing. And you just have to, yeah, I don't know, it's hard work. It's demanding. It's a demanding business. It's a demanding industry. We work with people. We work with clients. Our service, we try to have it's very important for me to have service as one of our top priorities to the public and to our clients. And yeah, I'd urge every one of you to pop in, give us a visit, let us know, call me if you want to ask questions. I get parents and mentors and stuff. You want the best for anyone that you love, or that your children, whatever it might be. But you need to give everyone a chance to just show what they want, what they like. You obviously don't know what you want when you're that young, but you need to sort of realize what direction somebody needs to go before forcing them into any job you feel good for them. Your job, continue. If the mother's a doctor, the grandfather's a doctor, the kid's a doctor. Usually that's the way that it goes. And in these times, it's not necessarily the way that it works anymore. Yeah, I don't know what more to say. Ask the questions if you'd like.
Thank you very much, Courbet. I'll come in here. I think there were quite a couple of comments via my text on my phone saying how stunning, how beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic. They love the cars.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and youngsters, if you are in Johannesburg or in Pretoria, in South Africa, in the Gauteng area, please visit the showroom. It is really as beautiful as it looks. Those are not just pictures from magazines. That's the real thing. They've got a lovely coffee shop in there. You would have seen the coffee shop. They make fantastic cappuccinos, and just go and browse and see the beautiful cars. Courbet, thank you very much. I think you touched on a lot of things that Peter touched on during the week. You know, follow your passion, do something that you like, that you love, that's in line with your natural behavior pattern. So I think, and even in the chats, somebody said, it's so beautiful to see how somebody lives their passion and their dream. And that's what came out in your discussion. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand back to Peter just to see if there's any comments from him, and then we'll go into questions. Thanks, Courbet. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Courbet. I just want to break it up on Courbet, and one of my cars, well, I've got a car standing there currently that Courbet needs to work on for me, 1969 Ford Fairlane. And so I don't know, I don't think Courbet will damage the car because I've said this, but Courbet is 31 years old. Now, you must now realize that he's built this business from leaving school in 10 years. And it's a big business. It's a very successful business. Now imagine you have a child in matric saying to you, if you ask them, what do you want to do with your life? And they say, no, I want to rebuild vintage cars. The average parent will make a backflip and get a heart attack. Leave it. If it's a passion, have a look at Courbet's business. It is fantastic. And everybody there loves it. With that, Courbet, thank you very much. It was excellent. Your business is Vatswaye. You can contact Courbet. We will in the email that we send out to everybody, we will give you the website as well as Courbet's detail. If you want to pop in, Melt, I know you will be there next week. Courbet, you've got a client on the screen. He's showing his thumbs up now. Melt has got a vintage. He will come to your place. Bank on it. Take his money. He's got. So then with that, Courbet, thank you very much. Please stay on if there are questions that people would like you to react to. Don't go away. Lizette, back to you. Let's deal with the questions.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'm going to start with the questions as they came in, maybe not in the same order, but one of the questions, I'm going to combine two of them. Why never more than 5 years when you design your career plan or your project plan? And then added to that is a second question, what if you are busy with this career plan and before you reach your goal in 5 years, that can be anywhere in this process, you realize that this is actually not what I want to do. What do you do then? So maybe you want to comment on that.
Lizette, the 5-year plan is always a good stake in the ground because it's within your reach. 5 years is always within our reach. We sort of, in our psychology, we are very comfortable with up to 5 years. More than 5 years, things become a bit vague. It's a bit distant and we don't have that clarity. That's the first reason. The second reason is that we live in a world that it doesn't really allow for long-term plans that are cast in stone. It's too much of the world is a volatile place. We need a level of agility. So 5 years is good. I must confess that some careers have a 7-year academic pre-launch. That is something different. There you are stuck. If you want to become a medical doctor or a minister of religion, or you want to become one of these high professional things, then you are stuck for 6, 7, 8 years sometimes. But 5 years is always a good goal. Now, what happens happens if halfway through the process I discover that this doesn't work for me? Get out. Get out. Immediately. Get out. The sooner, the better. If you stick with it too long, you become a slave of the situation and you don't have the energy to cut, to quit, and to say goodbye. If you're halfway through your journey and it doesn't work for you, and you've convinced yourself that this is not for me, get out. Give the pilot's license back to your mother and say, Mother, thank you very much. I'm going to my vintage cars now. Please don't be stuck in something. Remember, it's one of the 4 most critical pillars in your life. If that collapses on you, you compromises your fulfillment and your happiness in life endlessly. It's an endless compromise that you must make, and that is sound advice. It's in every good book that you will read in terms of the happiness of people. If you are stuck in something that doesn't work, find a way out.
Thanks, Peter. 2 questions, comments from Melt. The one was, if you look at the farming example that you used yesterday, and you decide, but that is really what you want to do. You want to become a farmer. But if you look at your habits and you look at your career report, you realize that it's not really in line with your habits. Will it be a good idea to go into farming, but then to appoint a farm manager that really then fills the gaps where you have gaps in your habits, and you then do the part of the farming that really suits your habits? The same will then go for a business owner, employing a business manager to fill the gaps with his or her habits where your habits are not suitable for that specific job. So that's the first one. Let's answer that one first, and then I'll present the second question from Melt.
Yeah, Melt, it's a good idea. But if you don't have the habits for a farmer, this is what actually happened with Christo. He didn't have the habits to do the solo thing of advisory service, virtual advisory service. It's very individualistic. It's very routine to an extent. And he's got to hand off the operation to the farmer to do it, whilst he's got a high habit of ownership. But what he did is he started immediately to develop those habits that are not strong enough for that career. But back to the practicalities of the question, Courbet doesn't work on cars anymore. He's got mechanics. He's got mechanics working for him. So Courbet has gone through the process. If you want to fill the gaps in your career path and you progressively build your career and the things that you do. Remember, the CEO of a bank doesn't talk to customers. He's got people talking to customers. So it's a good idea, but obviously it's not an immediate thing. It's something that you must progress through. And I want Courbet to also comment on this in a minute or so.
Great, thanks. The second comment from Melt, I'm going to read it as he presented it. With a volatile career market, will it be a good idea to have a second career strategically selected to manage risk?
Lizette, it's a good idea, but sometimes we just don't have the energy to build a second career. What I always suggest to people, have a plan B, so that if plan A fails, plan B can at least put some food on the table, maybe not everything, but some food. Courbet said something very interesting. He's a financial planner. He's been doing it for a long time, and it's a plan B. Not that I have an idea that Courbet's business will get stuck somewhere, but he's got a plan B. And I always advise people to have a plan B, but it's not that easy. So build plan A, have something always on the sideline, because we live in a world, again and again, I'm saying this, that is very unreliable in terms of careers. Things can change drastically and suddenly. But before you ask the next question, I just want Courbet to now comment on this thing that you don't have to do everything yourself. Courbet.
No, you absolutely, as I said also, sometimes you feel that the only way to get things done the way you want them done is if you do it yourself. But that's where in my opinion, where communication becomes key as well. So when we started this whole thing, which is now expanded into a transport company, we do logistics, we got a workshop, we do storage space, insurance, everything relating to classic cars, a one-stop shop. I just cannot get to everything. So that's where it needs to get to a point where you need to be able to hand off and trust people and communicate to people what you expect of them and how you want things done. That's also part of a training and all kinds of educational things to get people to work the way that, which is obviously at maximum optimal level, and to get the best for your company at the end of the day. So yeah, communication is key. You can't. A lot of the stuff, you'll obviously learn how it goes, what you can do yourself, what you can't. But at the end of the day, you cannot do everything yourself. You're going to have to trust people, and you're going to have to, as Peter said, I love working on the cars myself. I'll work on my own, but we got a group of mechanics, and we got sales staff and all of that. But yeah, it's just you need to I think the word would be delegate. At the end of the day, you need to know where to touch and where to leave in order to achieve the maximum that you can out of your entity.
Thank you very much, Korbert. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your insights and expertise. Peter, 2 more questions and 1 comment. The one is, I'm just going to go to it so that I make sure that I present it properly. What if you're a bit older and you're working on your 5-year project plan and you just don't have the luxury of unlimited funds? So like with Christo, the example you used in 2021, what if you don't have an income? How do you work on that learning phase? Do you do something on the sideline and then still work on your bigger plan to fund yourself in order to get to your 5-year career plan? Thank you.
Yeah, Lizette, that's obviously a tough one. What happened to Christo is he got a little bit of a payout from the insurance of his employer because of the accident or the shooting incident, and he could fund himself for about a year. And that was what he needed to get himself ready to launch this virtual consulting service that he has. I would suggest that if you are a bit older, immediately do a skills assessment, knowledge assessment. What knowledge and skills do you have that is currently an asset that you can turn into immediate income stream by means of consulting, giving advice, consulting to younger people in the same industry, but try to use the valuable knowledge that you have to turn that into some form of a cash flow and an income stream so that you can start to increase your learning and your capacity to build a proper income stream. But I would seriously advise to in an innovative way, find a way to generate an income from the skills and the knowledge that you have, even if it's limited, but to start to build that up and to build a clientele or a client base, and from there on progressively work forward. I would not suggest go work at some place part-time and build this part-time. I would try to consolidate this into one venture where my learning and development and progress is also part of my income generation and progress with that. I would stick to the skills that I have.
Great, thanks, Peter. I'm going to read a comment and then there's one last question and then we can open up if anybody then wants to ask live questions. Yolandi shared with everyone in chat, and I'm not sure whether everybody's following the chat, so I'm just going to read it. My dad pushed me into getting a difficult degree instead of a diploma. I initially felt resentful about it, but it is now 20 years after my matric, and today I'm very grateful about the qualification. I don't use it in the corporate environment as expected, but I've used it initially running my own business and now comfortably homeschooling my children since I have the academic knowledge to equip them again. Parents sometimes have an insight into their children which can help guide them forward, but I agree that they should do it cautiously and without their own image in mind. So that was just a comment I wanted to share. And then the last question, and then I'll open up for everybody to participate. This is an interesting question because Korbert and Nadia, his wife, works in the same business, and so does Peter and I. So Peter, the question is, what is your opinion about working together, being in a relationship, being married, doing everything together? So I think you'll have to answer this quite cautiously, but yeah, over to you for this one.
Lizette, it's always a difficult one. If you download my book, from shadowmatch.com. The title of the book is Shadowmatch Success for All. On page 40 to 60, I discuss relationships. And a marriage relationship is a love relationship. Working together is a business relationship, and it's not easy to mix them up. And everybody that is in that situation will say to you and will tell you that you must be very mature. You must be very sure of certain of your borders, and you must not run your marriage as a business, and you mustn't run your business as a marriage. It's a tough one. It's difficult for any couple that works together as a married couple. It's very tough, but it's possible. I think it's very possible. And if it works very well. But if it doesn't work, it's a complete mess. But we must keep them separate. Remember, the one is a love relationship where the interest of the beloved is more than the interest of the lover. And it's an unconditional relationship, whilst a business relationship is a transactional relationship where we exchange value. And you must do this, then I will do that. You will provide this. So we must be very careful not to mix this up. But Corbett and his wife is also in the same business. And she works at the one desk and he works at the other desk. Maybe, Corbett, would you like to share a few ideas in a minute or so? Go for it.
Sure, no problem. It is definitely a difficult one, and it has its ups and downs. I think the main thing is to, before you make a decision that you are going to work together and be in each other's faces 24 hours a day, business and pleasure, home and work, wherever it might be, you need to have certain things discussed before you do that. Routines where if you get home, don't talk business. It's almost never possible, but at least try and work on it. And as I said earlier about communicating and getting to work with people and having people building towards the same dream, who can you trust better than the person that you married to, trust with everything it might be. Obviously, Peter, as you said, not easy at all, but definitely possible. And it's something that you work towards, and you obviously you need to have the right partner for that. You're not going to throw any two different people in one boat and you're going to achieve what you want to do. Your habits and your style of working and everything needs to obviously correlate as well. And I think with Nadia and myself, it's something that we've worked on tirelessly to get it where it is at this level, and it's starting to pay off. We know how we work with each other. We know how to deal with each other. She knows not to bother me before 10 in the morning because I am a bit of not a morning person, but you learn each other's ways and routes and routines and how to operate. And I think that helps. From day one, it's not easy, but it gets better.
Thank you very much, Corbett. We also have, there's probably some other people here. I know Regina also joined, and Regina and her husband are also in business together. And it works, and it's been working for many years. So thank you very much for sharing, Corbett. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to just allow you to unmute yourself. So if you want to participate live, I think the formal webinar has come to an end. So if you feel that you need to run, you're welcome. But we are not going anywhere, so you're welcome to still participate. Just give me a moment so that I can allow you to unmute yourself. Great. So if you want to ask a question to Corbett, you're welcome. You can really just either raise your hand or just unmute yourself and start talking. That's great. I just want to check the chat and see if there's anything else. Carla, would you like me to just read your comment to everyone? I see Carla made a comment to everyone. I have pivoted from an executive client base sponsored by corporations whose budgets are restricted to growing engagements, being a career coach, to my private clients' kids for college prep, coaching, as well as other people for career coaching. I'm using what I know well, coaching, and pointing it in a different direction. No matter what, parents want their kids to be educated and often have that challenging dynamic that can exist between parents and kids. If parents are going to be investing in their children's future by paying for university, then why not make sure that they're going in the right academic direction? Or if not academic, help them with a plan to move in the direction that is in alignment with what is best fit for their success. Thank you very much, Carla. I think that's exactly what this webinars wanted to bring across. Thanks, Peter. I think I see you've got a hand.
Yeah. Just for everybody around the table, I know we don't know each other. Obviously, Carla is a friend of Shadow Match and of myself and Lizette. She lives in New York, actually New Jersey. She's a professional coach. So if you want a coach that is not in the same country and that could not talk to your neighbors about the things you discussed, sign up with Carla. She's an excellent coach, and she won't be able to get to your neighbors to tell you them the stories that you shared with her. Carla, you are very right, but what we must keep in our minds is that parents are not always the best advisors to their children. They are polluted with a lot of things, and it doesn't always make them the best advisors. So parents must rather step back than step in. If they are not sure what to do, step back. If they are hesitant, step back. That's the default. That's the default route. But it's a clever comment, and thank you very much for that. Back to you, Lizette.
Yeah, if I may, that was my point, is that there is that dynamic between parents, and that's what I'm seeing and why people are seeking me out. And that's really the point. And then also to make the point you made earlier, Peter, and that Cobra did, is pivoting, like use what you know well and what you do well. When one door closes, you can open another window with what you already have. And you just have to reposition it, like, where should I focus these talents, these habits, these things that are strong in me? Is there another field? Is there another focus area to do the same thing that you really do well, just to keep things going? So that's why I shared that, because, that was a point you made, rightly so, in terms of that. So.
Thank you very much, Carla. Thanks for sharing. It's great that you joined every day. That was wonderful to see you online. Just a comment from Anel, and that was to answer Vernay's question earlier. How do you, if you don't have the funds, how do you pay for it whilst you are an adult and you actually need to earn a living as well, working on your 5-year career plan? Anel said she started her life and leadership coaching career in 2015, and she paid for the courses with her husband's tax return money every year. So there are ways to do it. Well done, Anel. And then there's a question from Yolandi about the personal development programs. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that don't know Shadow Match as a system, we have personal development programs on Shadow Match, and Peter spoke about personal development programs when he did Christo's plan. The question is, are all the personal development programs 4 months in terms of their duration? No, not necessarily, Yolandi. The programs all vary depending on what program you do. And how do you choose the correct personal development program? The best is to look at your habits. Normally you would start with one of your lowest habits, but you would have to look at, what are you planning? What is your 5-year career plan? What are you heading towards? And what habits will be necessary to execute this program successfully? And then you will decide which of these development programs will be the best to do to really build that specific habit into a successful and automated behavior pattern to help you execute your 5-year program. Let me just see, there's some more messages. Nothing that specifically is a question. I don't know if you want to comment on the personal development programs, Peter?
No, it's complete, Lizette. There are 20 personal development programs available on Shadow Match, and obviously it's on your portal, and you can just decide on a mentor and then buy the personal development plan. They cost the price of a pizza, and it's a very specific behavioral development plan that works very well. Yeah, you've said everything. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, just for the purpose of the recording, I'm going to end the recording. You're welcome to stay on, those of you that want to run. I don't know, Corbett, if you're in a hurry, maybe there's somebody that wants to ask a question. I'm just going to end the recording so that it doesn't run for too long. So just give me a moment. Thank you very much.